over here, I've got my presentation, present, and then I'm going to share my screen. Alrighty, just a normal kind of sharing, not a weird kind of sharing. Okay, it's not the right one. Alrighty, do we all see my screen?
Yep.
Good. And I'm just going to do a sneaky making Robert co-host just while waiting. Okay, so welcome. We have done the thing where we have chatted about a bunch of stuff, made some new friends, brought some friends, and now I'm going to tell you a little bit about 1 Million Cups. Okay, so what we're about is we like to share ideas, entrepreneurial ones specifically, and working from an awesome outdoor version of an entrepreneurial idea today. We also offer help to each other. This isn't about just listening or getting cards or taking away information to use in your own business, although you can do that too. We also help the people who are presenting, and usually the people who are presenting, or even sometimes those listening, can ask for help. So this is a back and forth reciprocal community. We also like to build that community up by being involved. This is always like free. It's always got community members who are running it. So, and we're getting community members who are presenting to us and helping us create such a wonderful environment. So we do that on mostly on our calls, and then we're picking up doing that outside of our calls a little more. And it'll be great when we're at the collective again, our physical space, so that we can do more of that community building a bit more organically. And we're here to support each other. So this all started around the idea of building community while drinking coffee, and for once I'm actually drinking coffee. So I'm gonna hold it here like an ad. Why we're different to other networking and business entrepreneurial events is that we are presentations, like I said, not pitches. We're not trying to like sell people on our business so we can get funding or something from them. We want to share our business so that we can get feedback and we can improve and we can connect. And so with connecting, again, not networking, it's genuinely talking to each other and genuinely having a good time, bonding over things such as waking up in freezing temperatures. For the community and by the community, we are, as I said, we're run by by volunteers, which you'll see in a second. And we like to take a lot of our knowledge and our brain trust from the community. We reach out to you and you reach out to us when you can. And we are radically and intentionally inclusive. And this is growing and changing this concept, obviously, over the last year. It's, again, become more interesting and complex. And so we are doing what we can to be radically intentionally inclusive. And we always appreciate people's input and interest in how we can do that better. We are all over the nation. I think Rob's been to a few other 1 Million Cups, and he's has been taking advantage of this during COVID, is meeting people. If you want to get up and go see some people in a different country, different countries, sometimes it feels like that, doesn't it? In a different state, you can jump on any of the other 1 million virtual cups at the moment. They're across the nation, and we have thousands of attendees every week. And hundreds of volunteers. And that's another thing. If you want to get involved, you can also volunteer to keep this bad boy going. Now, these are our principles. We seek education, presentations, and connections. And so it's really, these are the focus of our, of each 1 Million Cups event each week. And usually we are in person, and this is our usual space, which is super funky and kind of, it's called base camp. So I don't know if anyone knows, it's the collective base camp. And so it's like, it's very focused on the bringing people together, but also bringing in the outdoor, and you can even climb in a climbing wall there. When we get back, we can all race up the climbing wall. But until then, we are still having thousands of entrepreneurs share their story with 1 Million Cups. And we are very proud that we have not missed one single 1 million cups, except one apparently, which I know we didn't miss because that's the one that I first went to. So we are, in my opinion, officially haven't missed one. We are also supported by, this is created by, we have sponsors that support us to keep this going. When we are in person, Seattle Strong provides us with some free, delicious coffee, more delicious because it's free. A small studio keeps our meetup page going and funnels cool people from all around, but especially Seattle, into our group. And Human Up keeps us connected with you through our email campaigns. So we are very appreciative for these people's support. And our community volunteers is what keeps this ticking over. You can see us there. We're having another one coming soon. So this is my like spin. We've got a new volunteer organizer, and he'll be on next week, officially on this page, and we're very excited to introduce you to him. But for now, these are your community volunteers. If you need anything during the call, feel free to reach out to any one of these people. And if I'm too busy and I don't see your message, and we can help you during the call as well. What to expect today? We've got coffee, we've got conversation, and now after that, we'll have our awesome presenter, Rob from GuideGap. Then there'll be a 20-minute question and answer, and we'll talk a little bit, we'll give you some ideas about what that feels like when we get there. And then afterwards, we'll jump into optional breakout rooms to chat more, hang out. We simulate our little catch-ups after in person with breakout rooms now. So you just stay as long as you like. That'll happen about 10 till, and if you need to leave, you leave. If you want to stay on, you can stay on. While the presenter is presenting, we would love to give you some tips on how to be a supportive listener. So try and minimize your distractions and focus on the presentation. It's 6 minutes. We can do it, guys, especially with coffee. And keep that energy up while you're listening. We can also think about what stands out for you in the presentation and what catches your ear. And think about things like, what do you want to learn more about? And is there an opportunity for you to share your expertise and be of service in some way? Just that's a little too far. All right, we are about to hear from our presenter, Rob, and I've made you a co-host already. Is that right, Rob? Let's check. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so Rob can, do you have put slides on? Yeah, do you have slides? You don't have to have slides. It's not a prerequisite. We just love them.
I have slides.
Great, awesome. Well, let's welcome Rob. Woo, thank you for coming.
Awesome, thank you. No, thanks so much for that. And I like to start this off because typically I have this weird wall behind me, and I like to explain I'm not in an insane asylum or anything like that. This is the truck and the setup that I'm in. So please know that you are not listening to just a crazy person, at least right now. But I'm really excited to talk to you today about saving time and also maximizing your time outside. That's what GuideGap is bringing to the outdoor industry. So just to really touch base on why I'm in this vehicle, here's our team, but I really want to focus on our network. We have hundreds of guides across the country. So we have guides in Bozeman, we have Seattle, all over California, you name it. We cover 14 states, mostly in the West and also in New England. But our guides are outdoor professionals. Usually they are real professional guides or retired guides who live and work in that area. We do have park rangers and professionals who actually work with the park system as well. What I'm hoping I can get from you all is I want to make sure the service that we provide is communicated clearly. So if you look at our website, I want to know within 5 seconds if you really understand what we do, because we are a new concept to the outdoor industry. We're not a traditional guiding service. We're an online guiding service. So I really would like your feedback to really clarify that message. That's been pretty difficult to do because when most people hear guiding, they think physical guide that goes with them. And then just, of course, your opinion on the price point, what would prevent you from using our service, and what pain points do you have when planning an outdoor trip. So let's talk about the problem. So how many of you guys have planned a trip or gone outside recently only to end up in a situation like this picture, or to really go online and you look up hikes in Seattle and a million different websites are throwing top 10 hikes in Seattle or go here, must do, right? But none of this pertains specifically to you. So you're left to sift through hundreds of reviews trying to decipher what Susie May meant when she said this trail is easy for most, but can be difficult for some, or really just trying to use these hundreds of reviews to be like, okay, this hike is good for me, or this campsite is good for me. You know, there's just so much information out there. For me, I just get overloaded, and I just needed something to really zero me in on where I want to look at and what I want to research further. So when I really started GuideGap, the final straw that broke the camel's back, because I was sitting on GuideGap, but life was good, right? So I really wasn't motivated to start this. And then I started planning a trip to Moab, Utah, and I spent over 24 hours researching online. And specifically, I wanted a campsite that I could off-road to, but I also wanted a campsite close to an awesome climbing crag, and I wanted a campsite I could ride my mountain bike to and hit a few mountain bike trails. So I'm strolling into Moab thinking like, all right, I got this thing. I'm set, I'm excited. And I go into an outfitter and I speak with a local guide, and literally within 40 seconds, they blew up all of my research. They said, you should go here, here, and here. And it turned out to be one of the best outdoor adventure trips I've ever been on. And that was it. That's when I was like, you know what? I have to do this. So I started living in my Jeep for over a year, just meeting and creating this network of guides, going into shops, working with the small businesses. And yeah, here we are covering 14 states, and we have around 180 guides across those 14 states. And that kind of gets me into the solution to this problem. So what is GuideGap doing for this? Well, GuideGap isn't it's America's first online guiding service that allows the user to explain their ideal outdoor adventure. And in return, one of our local guides will provide them multiple suggestions on where they should go, but also what they should be prepared for. You know, environmental considerations, weather, stuff like that. You know, they give little tidbits and hints like that of what our users should be prepared for. And for when they're done adventuring, our guides give them their favorite places to drink. They give them their favorite cafe, brewery, restaurant, and favorite places to shop within their town. So you also kind of get a little bit of that local insight to help support the town as well. And the best part about this is, since our guides do not physically go with you, it's extremely affordable. The service ranges from $20 to $40 depending on the activity that you select. Our activities include hiking, camping, mountain biking, rock climbing, off-roading, and we added backcountry skiing and touring this season. So, and that's also really special to me because not everyone can afford or needs like hundreds of dollars worth of a guiding service. And it kind of allows people to get a guiding service but without the cost of that. So here's an example of what you would receive. So for every activity that you select, you would actually receive 3 of these. So this is just an example of one. This is just an example of one suggestion. And again, you receive 3 suggestions. So if you were going hiking, this would be one hiking trail. And then again, you would receive 2 more suggestions. But basically what our guides do is they say you should go to, they explain they give the hiking trail name, and then they provide a summary explaining why that they're making the suggestion for you. So basically what from your inputs prompted them to make this suggestion. And then they give pros and cons, because, you know, not all hiking trails are going to be perfect. So they really just give you, you know, some pros and cons. And this helps you compare it to the other two suggestions too. So when you want to decide which one you want to do, you can use this information. They also give you a photo just to, you know, highlight some of the great aspects of that hiking trail. So really what this is built for, it's built to give you enough information to then zero in on where you want to go and, you know, choose where you want to go from there. And then this is one of my passion projects that I added into it. It's called the Town Insight page, which comes free with every activity that you selected. But really, it's a chance for our local guides to support their local town. So they get to tell you their favorite restaurant, cafe, and brewery within the town, and their favorite shops or outfitters within the town. And then some of my favorites is every guide kind of works as an ambassador for their town, right? So there's always things that they want visitors to know about when they come into town. You know, like maybe keep your dog on a leash, or if you're parking your car, you know, don't block this road, that type of deal. And then environmental considerations. We actually had one user, he was hiking in Montana, and our guide suggested to bring bear mace because it was grizzly season. Sure enough, they actually ran into a grizzly. Fortunately, like, the grizzly was away from them, but they were really happy that they had that bear mace on them when they turned around and walked quickly away. You know, and those are the type of things that our guides can do to really make your outdoor experience safer and more enjoyable. So where are we going? So we launched GuideGap about a year ago. We launched it just in time for COVID to hit. So really, a travel service, and essentially we could not promote travel. So we've kind of just been laying and waiting to really get after the marketing. So this spring and this summer is going to be huge for us. And we plan on growing awareness, right? I have this fancy truck to go to festivals and be out there within the community. We started GuideGap Affiliates, which is a really cool way for small mom and pop shops throughout our 14-state footprint to join. And all we do, it's free. We just provide backlinks to each other's websites to really increase our domain authority and help us compete against people like REI and Backcountry on the e-commerce world. Business to business, we have a few business to business services that we offer as well. We stepped back from Google Ads just because we recognized it wasn't the right time to travel and all of that. And Google Ads prices really didn't go with our business model during the pandemic. So we just worked on SEO and building out the website and just growing organic traffic from there. And we're about to start to enter pitch competitions as we go further into this. And so far, what we've accomplished within this year, again, we haven't been marketing very much. So we've helped just under 100 users get outside. And these users range from grandmothers just trying to take their grandkids climbing and hiking to experienced climbers that just did not have the time to research a good campsite next to a climbing crag, or young families who just love to get out with their kids. They just don't have that time anymore. It's been great to see, but we've had about a 20% user return rate and really positive feedback from the people who use our service. And the best part about this is what I just explained is really half of the story. The other half of the story is the fact that the majority of your purchase goes to that local guide. So now we've created a supplemental revenue stream for outdoor professionals who are usually underpaid. And that's really fulfilling for me. It also is a way to support the small businesses and have the locals support the small businesses. But the best part is, again, we get to help people get outside. We get to save you time in front of a screen. And when you're out there, a local professional made this suggestion, so you're having the best outdoor experience possible, as opposed to wondering like, could I have like gone to this trail or this trail? Now you're having the best outdoor experience possible. And that's really what I'm really excited about with GuideGap. Like, there's so much opportunity out there, and we've all been stuck in our homes. In my case, the back of my truck, for so long, and just ready to get outside. I don't think we need to spend any more time in front of screens. I think we need to just be as efficient as possible. Don't spend hours researching, and support local and small businesses and local guides going forward. So again, I just want to reiterate what I'm hoping you all can help me with.
That's very helpful. These 4 questions, right? Oh, go back to them. They were really great.
Yeah.
That's
I'm excited
perfect.
to hear what you guys have.
Thank you so much, Rob. I'm so excited about this. I just want to like ask all the questions, but I'm not going to do that because that's not my job right now. My job is to get all of these amazing people who put their hands up in excitement ready to ask you a question. So the first one who shot off the list was Christopher. Hello, Christopher. You are number 1 on the question asking list.
I'm so sorry. I meant to like not raise my hand, but like clap. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Well, thank you for the clapping. Because it was totally worth the clapping. We do have a lot of questions coming through. So Eric, Zaki, would you like to ask a question?
Yeah, that was exciting and awesome. Thank you so much for sharing what you're doing. One of the things.
Sorry, Zaki, can I just jump in for 1 second? I do apologize. Yeah. We have a lot of people who want to ask questions. So just want a reminder, if you can keep your questions to the attempt of a 1 breath question. So asking, a direct question and as succinctly as possible. And we'll get Rob to see if he can give his succinct answer back. And so we can get through everyone, and it's good practice anyway. So just wanted to remind everybody of that before we jump in. Go, Zaki.
That's a good thing. Thank you for reminding me. So excellent presentation, really excited about it. My question for you is, have you considered the how you're going to handle people who might have a disability who want to do this kind of, want to use your service? Will you have specialized offerings for them? And have you thought about that? I mention it because we have someone in Seattle who wants to do just that. So may it be worth connecting you to.
Yes. So when I started creating the network, I had a few specialty categories. It's guides who are comfortable providing suggestions for kids, dogs, and ADA accessible trails. So we have guides specific for those type of users who have disabilities and who are familiar with where they can go and what they can do. So yeah, we do have that in our network. Everyone deserves to get outside. So
absolutely, that's a really good question, Zaki, and like that's probably something you want to put in the chat with that connection. We'll get you the chat afterwards, Rob, so that you can have that information. Let me check my participants list, but yeah, ADA is always a really important consideration. So Jay, we have another question from Jay.
Sorry, finding mute. Can you guys hear me? This is amazing. Wow, this is so cool. Like I want to use this this summer. This is awesome. One of my questions, maybe you covered it in your presentation, and I was busy kind of fumbling around on your website. But do the guides get paid? Like, do they get a commission on their part of the service?
Yeah, that's one of the great. That's really half of the other side of GuideGap, which I'm really excited about, is the guides actually get the majority of what you pay for. So it's a way for a guide to, go outside and do their normal work with their clients, but then they can come home and they can pick up a questionnaire and earn some supplemental income on the side. So they get the majority of what you're actually paying for. And then we just take a small cut for the platform, the marketing, and all of that. So I guess I hate to use this analogy, but think Uber and ride shares. It's very similar to that.
Awesome. Thank you.
Really good question. So I guess that means that it's a critical mass kind of concept in terms of feasibility, but that's just a thought, which is a great thing. I love a critical mass of guides. That sounds like the best critical mass you can have. Next question brought to you by Jolene.
Hey, I'm wondering, is this automated? Like when I put the information in your website, is your system automatically spitting it out, or is someone looking at it before it gets to me?
It's all custom curated to you. So basically you go online and you fill out the questionnaire.
Yeah.
And that questionnaire is sent to a local guide who fits the criteria. So let's say you are looking to go hiking in Seattle and you do have ADA requirements, that would go to a guide that we have there, right? Because we have an inventory of guides. And then they would look at that and they would use our automatic template. So all they're doing is entering that information in that you saw on the example, and then it automatically populates the finished product. So it's going to always look like that, and you're just going to have different information every time. So we do not use anything where it's just automatic. And that's the big thing about this, is it's custom curated to our users.
So that is not, I don't think that is clear. And as someone who, from an automation standpoint, I don't see the difference between, well, no, not that I don't see. Obviously you have a difference. And the reason why I say this, and I know you know what, never mind. I will contact you. We'll have a longer discussion after this. I'm in this industry, but different vertical. And so I have some feedback for you.
Awesome. Yeah, that'd be great.
Great, Jolene. Chuck your, if you feel comfortable, put your contact details in there in the chat so that Rob can get in contact with you afterwards. We'll get you the chat, as I said. Also, just anyone who's wondering, if you don't know how to raise your hand if you have a question, just jump over to the reactions tab and it's in there, just in case the Zooms keep changing. So that just a heads up. The next question is from Katie.
Oh my gosh, I am so excited about your product and your service. And my bit of feedback to you was that was thinking about how you're getting people into you, right? And when you mentioned travel, my brain was like, what? Like, why does that prevent things? Knowing that, like, because we're all stuck inside, many of us are trying to get out, right? And I feel like I'm one of your ideal customers, but I don't know if you have like a specific target customer, but I'm definitely the one who's like, I want to go out, but I literally have no idea where to start. So I do go to all those different places. And now instead I'm going to go to your service because that sounds way easier. And like, I'm going to get much better results. So I would just encourage you to make sure that you're not, I mean, travel is a great tool, right? But that may not be the only way that people are going to come to you or find you, right? So that's kind of my thought.
And you're absolutely right. Like, I really, being a startup, I wanted to hit it hard after like spending a year in my Jeep and just like, it's all ready. And then, so it was just a really touchy subject of marketing of like, hey, go outside and like do that stuff. So we just opted to just play it safe and like sit on my hands until then. But you're absolutely right. Like, we are here for people who just don't want to go 3 hours. They just want to go from their house and find something. And we're working on kind of a monthly subscription service where, and actually I'll ask you about this, where we would deliver hiking suggestions to you every month.
Yes.
And kind of like
Sign
motivate you to, yeah, okay.
I'm in. I would say that like for something like that, it might, I mean, if I'm just thinking like price point, like, if your guides are $20, I don't know if I would personally want to spend $20 a month to have a new guide. But, you know, that would be something to think about, would be like, how frequently would someone get a new guide? Because maybe it's not even, maybe I want to try my same trail a few times,
Yeah.
and then be able to kind of adjust my frequency. Maybe I only want to have a new trail every quarter.
Yeah, no, that's great. And yeah, even myself, when I find a trail by my house, like mountain biking, I'll probably go to that one. Once you find something that you love, like it's hard to like explore, but there's so many other ones too. So that's kind of where that service is coming from.
That's really cool. And yeah, that would be like a entry point level, like talking about like your value ladder, and like maybe you could even have an opt-in that's around like, get one, like see what it's like to get like your hiking suggestions for your area, and their person gets an automatic like basic list of some hikes in the area that you think they might not know. They're like, holy caroli, this free thing gave me a new hike that I've never, why did I not swear? I always swear. That I got a new hike in this free opt-in, like I'm totally, it's worth paying this much money, $20, $40, whatever, for a subscription. So I have to get my little ins in because I'm not allowed to ask questions. Anyway, so next question is from Brian.
So, sounds like an exciting product and service. So good job on that. Question that I have is, who is your target audience? Is it the casual people that you're wanting to encourage to go outside more, or the hobbyist that's already going outside and is looking for better trails and things like that?
Great question. We've been trying to find a trend. Really, we're reaching both. You know, I use the grandma example. So people who have like special circumstances, like another example would be a mother who was doing a mother-daughter trip to Arizona, and one daughter has climbed Denali, and the other one, in her words, likes to wear heels and go shopping throughout Manhattan. So like she was looking for a trail to like combine that, right? So people with special like circumstances really benefit from GuideGap. But then again, we've also had really experienced climbers who just really see the value in the service, and they're like, hey, I want your opinion on this because I'm spending this much time and this much money to fly here. I want to make sure, you know, I want to get a professional's input. So what we have found is really our users range between our target, I guess, or they mostly range between 23 and 43. That is what we've narrowed it into. And then women have been using the service more than men. Typically, I think it's because they're smarter. It's really, they identify, hey, you can just ask someone and get better information than if you talk to a lot of guys, they're like, oh no, I could figure that out. At least that's what I'm getting at, but that's what we've been able to narrow in on. I think COVID's kind of made it a little difficult, but yeah, 33 or 23 to 43, and then we haven't narrowed down the specific skill set yet.
You might consider, if you are trying to attract the casual, or in your story, you have a hobbyist that's bringing a casual with them, is maybe either providing for free or an additional service, like what's the training to get ready for this trip? So if someone's like, you know, I might want to go from casual to hobbyist, like what would that be to help them get ready? So when they go out on their heels, they're not going to come back and be like, hey, this is totally not my gig.
Yeah, so would you want to pay like an extra $10 to be able to have a chat service with a professional guide to ask like, what should I bring? Or
that, or just even, you know, if you got people who are out of shape, you know, what's things to be able to get your body ready for it, or yeah, or just part of that goes into what do your people need if you're going after the casual market, because I think that's something that makes them stay at home.
And I think maybe I need to do a better job, or I can improve the communication and the fact that these are professionals. And like when you input the questionnaire, they are the ones telling you the right trail to go to. So, you know, maybe it's not something that you have to like work up to get out there, because there's trails for everyone. And you just need a professional to tell you, hey, this is a good trail. This one won't put you down. So maybe I need to improve the communication on that as well. But I also see your point, and having that extra service as well. So thank you.
Sure.
Lots of nods and like vigorous yeses to your suggestions. So I feel like you've got Jolene popped in there that, you know, undervaluing yourself because you wanted to be accessible. And I think it's maybe it's more like you're discovering exactly, and you're discovering the value. There's a seam in there somewhere, right? Let's try and get everyone. So next question is Leif, and then we've got 2 more questions after that. So let's be quick if we can.
Hi, Rob. I'll be quick. So on your question about what your feedback is on the site, I'd be one of the users that want like really great information. Like I'm like I do it a lot. So I would want to know that I get really good information. My concern initially when I'd look at your page with brand new eyes would be, am I really going to get what I want out of this? Am I just going to be sent to some popular spot that's crowded with people that's like on their top 10 list? That's my big concern that I want to be hit immediately, as from my perspective. And then as far as your website goes, just a couple things I noticed while I was on there is it seemed like there's too much on your home screen, like to go through information wise. Like it should be like you're connected to somebody that knows what they're doing, that first statement there. And then if you want more information, you can go find it. But I found myself seeing like a lot of text. And that was just a lot for me to read at once on a brand new screen. And then there was a pop-up that was annoying.
Yeah.
But, otherwise, I think you're onto something here. If you like, I would say I would spend $20, $30 if I was going across the country to a new spot where I didn't know at all. And I'd be like, yes. I think the big concern I have is in a region, I wouldn't know where like I could go easily up north or down south if I'm driving across the country, but I wouldn't know between those two. So maybe something for like macro decision making too. Like, oh, you got to hit this up, go this route, something like that.
Can you elaborate on the macro decision making?
Sure. Like, okay, if I'm driving across the country on a road trip and I'd be like, I could go through these states or I could go through these states, but I wouldn't be able to pick which state I'm going through, but I could be convinced to go up north slightly or down south or take a huge detour because there's something I got to see because I'm into certain mountain biking, cross country riding or something like that. That would be what, you know, a small change I'd be interested in.
Yeah. We actually have provided that. So there were some experienced rock climbers going to climb in the Tetons, and they were doing the road trip, right? So the name of the town in Wyoming, they had to go through Wyoming. So we were like, hey, you should stop here because it's world-class sport climbing, and just check it out. And yeah, they were able to do that. So is that sort of what you're?
Yeah, I guess that would be it more. And the other thing is that the pricing is additive a lot. I noticed that it's like if you want hiking and camping, it's both, right? So is that just 2 different guides doing it then? Or is it one guide that might be presenting both?
We
like
have
typically
guides.
I'd want to do 3 or like always camping, typically hiking, probably biking. And so I'd be like, oh, wow, that's like, you know, that gets expensive very quickly if you want them also.
Does, yeah. We have guides who specialize in certain activities. So if we have a questionnaire where someone wanted to go mountain biking and then rock climbing, and we didn't have a guide that had both of those, we have the ability to send it one to one guide and the other one to the other guide.
Sure.
And really quick, going back to the website feedback, could I just change this? I'm sure if anyone of you have worked on websites, it's just so much tinkering. Did the first statement on the homepage explain everything to you effectively, or at least help?
Yeah, I think the only thing missing from me by perspective was the time. So it says complete the questionnaire and they'll get you back to you. But can I do it and expect to go this afternoon, or do I need to have a week? Or that's the only ambiguity for me.
Okay, sounds good. And it's just for your information, it's 5-day turnaround.
Okay, got it.
Great, that's awesome. This is really helpful information for getting this website, and a big ask of Rob's was about the website. We'll see who we can get. If we got one, maybe two questions. So we're going to go with Kareem, and then if we can get Christopher in, we will. Go, Kareem.
I really appreciate your service and appreciate the work that you're doing, Rob. I'm one of your customers. I would be one of your customers. Couple pieces around feedback. I really want to underline everything that Leaf has said, right? So kind of double underlining. My feedback is around friction, right? So I felt like I was confronted with a wall of text, right? I feel like I had a bunch of decisions, right? And for me, I'd want it to be as lightweight as possible. What does that mean? Maybe even instead of having me type out a questionnaire, maybe have an opportunity for me to ramble on a voicemail for 5 minutes, for instance, to give you, to give the guides a sense of more of the flavor of what it is that I'm looking for. Let me give you a sense about my background. I'm a dad, right? Looking for ways to get outside. I've got 2 young sons and a wife, right? And so we need to figure out things that are family appropriate, right? And a guide would be very helpful for that. We just had an experience that we went toward Mount Rainier. It made sense on Google Maps, but it didn't make sense in reality. You know what I mean? And we got our our Subaru Ascent in pretty deep. But that would be a for instance, right? We could have really used something along your services. My last piece of feedback or consideration is, I'm submitting this for your thoughts, is around almost a concierge concept, right? Like I would love to, maybe have a subscription for a guide who I have a relationship with for a season, right? And be able to have that, they will get a sense of us, we will get a sense of them, and then we would be able to stack a bunch of different trips on that would be kind of cost effective and sort of useful for the family. So consider that as well. That would be something that I'd be interested in. Great work. We'll watch you guys pretty closely in terms of like what, as you guys develop, because we would be a customer.
No, I really like that concierge service and just building a relationship with that guide. I mean, wow. Thank you. I'm definitely going to look into that.
I love this. Rob, do you think we have time for one more question for you?
I'm in the back of a truck. I'm good.
Okay, Christopher, can we get a succinct question from you, and then we can.
Okay, so it's actually feedback. So again, like everyone else, I would be a customer. I live in Charleston, South Carolina, and I loaded up my Kia last year, and with food, my trunk was like this, and I had a bag on top of my car, and we went to, oh my God, Yellowstone, Teton, Grand Canyon, like all everywhere in 2 weeks. So I literally got on Facebook groups, asked what I needed to do, learned about Gypsy Guides or Gypsy app, whatever that is, where it actually talks you through like different national parks. So I would definitely be a customer 100%. I think price point is a little bit of concern. And then trying to make sure that, I know it says on here that's customized, but really highlighting maybe the people and faces behind who's making the guides. Like Dan from Ohio, Christopher from Charleston is making this guide for you, because it looks more or less like it's a computer automation that I'm going to pay for that would create the guide for me. So maybe make that a little bit clearer and highlight the people specific to where are you going? Like even on the homepage saying like Dan from Denver or Chris from Charleston, and saying they're making your guide. They're kind of highlighting it. If I have enough, also highlight your lead time. I guess on here, it's not, I know you said it to us, but just make sure, I guess when we pay for it, it says, hey, customized guide within X amount of time. So.
No, that's great. Yeah, thank you for that. I don't know how much time I can respond to that, but we do provide a bio. We do provide a bio of the guide who made it when we send it back to you. So we just had Janelle do a Southern Utah trip, and Janelle, she is what you call a contract guide. So people fly her out to different locations to do guiding, but she also lives and guides in Southern Utah as well. So like we provide a bio of that when you get it, but maybe highlighting it beforehand, because that's really been our struggle, is getting people to go over, getting to go over the edge and actually commit to a purchase.
So it's one
thank
of
you.
those that like, sorry. So like when I bought Gypsy Guides, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna spend $15. I didn't quite know, but so many people were talking about it. When I went to Zion last year, have you ever been to Zion?
I am sorry, Krista. We
Oh,
will
sorry.
have to stop, but I do totally recommend getting in contact with Rob. Rob, did you put your email address in there in the chat? Please do again, because it probably disappeared as well. And I want everyone, because I think there's a lot of people who've got a lot of questions for you, a lot of feedback, and a lot of time to put into this, because it's such a stoke of an experience that we all want to get in. So you jump on there and put your email address. In the meantime, while Rob's doing that, I'm just going to jump back on, because we need to let people get on with their days and also let people get on with some conversation if they want to hang out. So I'm just going to share my screen again for a hot second. And wait, where do we go? There it is. Okay, so thanks everyone for all of your questions and feedback. I am stoked. I'm so mad that I'm hosting, because I wanted to go in there and say all the things. So one question, I feel like just quickly, what can the 1 Million Cups community do for you now, Rob, directly? This is a question we need to hear from you.
So you all have already helped me out with some great feedback, so I really appreciate that. Yeah, again, if you find yourselves in a situation where you want to get outside, consider our service. It's a great service. Again, you're supporting small businesses, you're supporting local guides, and it's an all-around win-win. So that would be great. You can so you can keep tabs on us. You can always follow us on Instagram. But yeah, word of mouth is great as well. So
I think it's follow them on Instagram, because I really want to, you better keep updating on Instagram, because I want to see your journey, especially. And I think you've got a lot of people who are already like there with thinking of you. Bring a friend next week, guys, because it's so much fun when you bring a friend. I brought a friend this week and I had I'm glad she's here. Leif brought a friend. We have friends, just make everything better. And also consider applying to present, because like Rob, you can do this too, and you can get all this fun feedback from everybody. And we're always looking for new presenters, and we will fit you in. Just make sure that you are trying something new in your entrepreneurial business, you're willing to ask for some help, and you want to learn by doing. Also, if you do want to get involved and become an awesome volunteer organizer who gets to sing in front of people, you should email us at seattle@1millioncups.com, and we will chat with you about becoming a rad volunteer organizer. So now we're going to go into breakout rooms. I want to give one more big thank you and a big clap to Rob, and stoked about your business. Thanks for everyone for your questions. Sorry, we're running a little behind. Usually we have a bit more time for the breakout rooms, but there was just so many fantastic questions and conversation going on. I always hate breaking it up. Grab the chat will disappear. Save it if you need to get those links, and we'll do that for you, Rob, but you can also save it, especially if you have direct messages. If you want to keep your direct messages, you save your chat yourself. Oh wait, you guys can't save your chat. Sorry, never mind. I've got to change that feature. I will save it for you, Rob. Everyone else, write it down. And we're going to go into some breakout rooms. Feel free to leave whenever you want to. Let me stop sharing my screen so I can actually do that. Really stoked to have you all here today. Thanks for everyone for jumping in. If you have any questions or need any other information, or you want to get Rob's info and you've missed it on here, just email us. And oh, there they are. Everything changes in Zoom all the time. Okay, I'm gonna get some breakout rooms. Create. Recreate. 1, 2. How many people did I do? Yes. Okay, look at this. Now let's make sure we don't have all of the, we've done this before, where? Oh, well, let's do that. Okay. Thanks everybody for coming. I will hopefully, and anyone who doesn't want to go into a breakout room, please move. You can leave now and wave goodbye and say nice things to people. And I'm going to open this room for you. If you end up in a room by yourself, I'm about to move you, so don't freak out. All right, enjoy your Wednesday. We'll see you next week. Thanks again, Rob.